Okay, today we're going to start on the bottom of Sadik of Amid Allah. It's my correct? Yeah. We thank Hashem that we're able to learn Torah every day. It's list of learning we should have to face the Migdash immediately. We're learning the Nishma, Saba Goldabas, Barfinyamin, and the Sanal Zabin Tzion. And for Shlema, for David Ben Sarah, and Gedali Getzel, we have to take Torah. Okay. Itmar was stated. A lot of times when it says it's stated, you think you're going to have a statement. Turns out you're going to have a machlekes. It's more common than the. Someone sold a barrel of wine to his friend and it went sour. Now we're talking about over here, where it was in the original container of the meicher, of the seller. And he didn't switch containers. Now, Rav says, first 3 days, if it's ours, within the first 3 days of the sale, then we say that it must have already started smelling like vinegar. It turned into vinegar, not just sour, turned into vinegar. Then it must have already started when he sold it, because it takes 3 days for it to go from wine to vinegar. And in the middle, it smells bad. So probably it was already smelling bad at the time that he sold it. So basically, he sold him vinegar. It's the expression over here was that it's not that he sold him wine and it turned into vinegar. He sold him wine and he found that it was vinegar because it's within the first 3 days. But after 3 days, then it's already the lekeach's problem, the purchaser's problem. Shmuel says, Shmuel says, no, right when you sell it, it's the wine goes after the shoulders of the owner. It means that it jumps to the new owner, and if the owner has sinned, so his wine goes bad. So it's not the seller's fault. It's the new owner's. It's the purchaser's fault that the wine is bad. Yeah. Rav Yosef of the Kavasei the Rav B'Shechra. Rav Yosef Paskin like Rav when it came to beer, where he said that the first 3 days was the seller's problem. When it came to wine, the Kavasei the Shmuel B'Chamra, he Paskin like Shmuel, that wine is totally dependent on the mazel of the owner.
Didn't we learn yesterday that the smell? Why wasn't like a test performed at the purchase?
Yeah, yesterday we had a machlekes. If the smell is vinegar, it's considered vinegar. It's machlekes Rabbi Yechon and Rabbi Shua ben Levi. It could be they didn't smell anything. Maybe it starts on the top. Rabbi Shua ben Levi says it starts on the bottom. Right? I'm not sure. I don't know. Okay. The Hilcha said the halacha is kavasei the Shmuel. It seems like the halacha is entirely like Shmuel, according to the Gemara. That it's all dependent on the purchaser. You buy wine, within 3 days it goes bad. It's your fault. That's not a lot of fun. It's fun for the seller, not for the buyer. We would complain, no, if you bought a bottle of wine that was bad. I guess we would complain because we just opened it up. We never opened it before, so we'd say, well, how did it go bad if we didn't open it? That's why we would complain. Well, one other detail here is that it says if it goes into the kalim of the seller if it changes from the seller to the buyer from utensils, so then the seller can say that it's your vessel that was no good that made it go bad. Today we would say that it was just the transfer, that the air it oxidizes and it goes bad just from pouring it.
A lot of these old wines would just buy it for the bottle because what's in it is no longer good.
Uh-huh.
If they open it, it's not gonna
Right.
taste good. And
Whether it's beer that's made out of dates, whether it's beer that's made out of barley, that's more common for us, but I think back then it was the dates were more common for them. Or whether it's this is the dregs, the pieces of grapes and all of that that was used. They would put it into a pumice, I think it's called. They would put it into the sacks, and they would let it sit in the water, in the wine, and then they would take it out. It was all the stuff that gives the wine the flavor, all of that stuff that would. So once they take it out of the wine first time, they could use it again and put it into water and make more wine just with that. It gives it another flavor called shmarim. And the wine that's made from it is called temed. Should not be confused with med, which is the Yiddish word for wine that's made out of honey. We would have this honey wine called med. I think that's Yiddish. This is called temed, and this was wine that was made with these pumice, these peels and everything from the grapes. It's recycling. It's recycling the grape skins and all of that to make more wine. The halacha is all of these types of wines, so you make shakal ni'abedvari. In other words, even though it comes from figs, not figs, it comes from dates. You don't make eitz on it because it's just the water, right? Even though it comes from barley, beer, you don't make mezainis on it. It's just water. And even though it comes from the peels and all of that for the wine, but we consider it water. We don't consider it an improved product. You see, maybe it should get a special bracha because you're making something better, like wine gets a better bracha than ha'etz, gets by priagafen, and bread gets a better bracha than the mezainis or hadama. It improves from that. But no, but we don't say that for barley, and the same as with we don't say that for beer.
could it be that it was meant for Jordan?
Yeah, we'll see in a second. Others say shmarim sheshbem tam yayin, that if the shmarim, if this pumice that gives off a flavor of wine, so mevarach aleim by hagafen, then you say a hagafen on that. You can say hagafen on that water that the grapes were soaked in it. Now, Rabbi and Rabbi Yosef Darmi Tavayu, Rabbi and Rabbi Yosef both say, "Ein halacha ka'acherim." Halacha is not like acherim. Amar Rava. Rava says, let's take a look. What's the machlekes exactly? Kuli alma ramat lasa arba chamrahu. Let's say we're talking about that the grapes were entirely squeezed out, and now that it's sat in the wine, you let it sit in the wine. They put it in sacks and they hold it there. Or maybe they have like a strainer. They lift it out, they strain it out. Sacks would also be a strainer. Now that it's sat in that wine for a long time, so it absorbs all the wine after it's been pressed, and it dries. And then they put it into another container of water. And what happens now is water absorbs into it, and then it seeps out. So there's water that's going in and out. So if you put it in 4 cups of water into this pumice, vasarba, and you get out. I'm sorry, you put in 3 and you get out 4. 3 cups of water, you get out 4 cups of water. So chamrahu, that's considered wine. It ferments. It ferments. And it turns into wine. Yeah, that would be considered wine. And the reason is because Rava Latame, Rava follows his reasoning. Dama Rava kol chamrad leidari al chad las maya lav chamrahu. That the way you mix wine is anyways like that. You always mix 1 part wine to 3 parts water. That's how you have to mix wine. I forget who it was that Rava mixed wine for. Yeah, maybe it was it Rava or Rabbi Yehuda in the end of Masechta Ksubas, I think. No, I forget where it was. He mixed the wine for him. He didn't see him in a long time. They mixed the wine for him, and it was Rabbi Yosef. He mixed the wine for Rabbi Yosef. And Rabbi Yosef realized who it was that mixed it, and he said, "Oh, Rava is here or something." But even though he was blind, he still knew. He could tell by the recipe. Anyway, Rava's opinion was that you have to mix. You have to mix the wine with water, and how much water you mix it with? 3 parts water. I think we understand today that the fermentation back then wasn't as good. And if they would drink straight wine, get sick in the stomach. And so I think that's the way we understand it. Although there's possibly another explanation that wine was just a drink. So it was like a punch, wine punch. So they would just drink it like that. They would mix it with water.
Wasn't it also stronger? Like,
Yeah, I don't think it was really strong.
is it would water it down?
They would water it down, but not that to get it to 14%. Water it down to get it to whatever a third of that is, right? 3.5. Huh?
Would bring it down to Rashi.
Yeah, to Rashi level. Okay. So that's Rava's opinion. So therefore, it's going to be if you get out 4 cups out of the 3, and you put in 3, it's going to be considered wine. Rama tlasa vasa tlasa. Let's say you put in 3 cups and you get out 3 cups. That's v'lei klum. We have no reason to say that what you got out was a cup of wine and what went in was a cup of water. We have no reason to say that. We don't know that. Nothing happened. So keep ligi, when is there a machlekes between the Tanakama and Acherim, the Rama tlasa vasa tlasa palga. You put in 3 cups and you got out 3.5 cups. Now, here's the question. The Rabbanan sabri tlasa ayal tlasa nafek. You put in 3 cups of water, you got out 3 cups of water. Pashto palga, you have 1/2 left over. Palga b'shita palga maya v'lei klumu. 1/2 cup of water in 6/2 of cups of water, that means 3 cups, is not considered wine. It has to be 1-3. That has to be the ratio. And this is 1-6. So it's not considered wine. Acherim sabri, the others hold, the Acherim is, in the Mishnah, it's usually Reb Meir, in the Brisa, not necessarily. They hold that tlasa all tlasa upalga nafek. You put in 3 and you got out 3.5. Pashlut kuza, you got out 2.5. Sorry, you put in 3, you got out train upalga, nothing. 2.5 came out. Pashlut kuza, you have 1 cup that's left. Kuza betray upalga chamra malyo. If you have 1 cup wine and 2.5 cups water, because there's room to say that there's some wine coming out. So they believe that it's more wine, some water stayed in and some wine came out, extra wine came out. So therefore that would be real wine. Okay. So what we're saying now is that if you put in 3 cups water and you get out any more than 3 cups, becomes a machlekes. You get out 4 cups, everyone agrees. If you get out more, if you get it between 3 and 4, that's a machlekes between Tanakam and Acherim. Do they really argue? If you get out more liquid than what goes in, you see, they're squeezing it, of course. Right? It's not just like the water is rising. They're squeezing it and they're straining it. What are they left with after they've strained it? That's what's going on over here. They have a cup of this, 3 cups of water inside this. 3 cups of water. They add the shmarim, the sacks of shmarim. They take it out and they squeeze it. You know, they press it out. So how much is left? Is it the same level that they put in, or is it higher? If the level's higher, then if it's 4 cups, then it's for sure wine. If it's between 3 and 4, it's machlekes. If it's only 3, then they say it's just, you're just left with what you started with.
They get an extra cup.
Yeah. Right. It's not the original. There's a machlekes in the Rishonim talking about where it's the original grape juice that was still in the grapes that didn't come out yet, or no, in the first one we squeezed it out 100%, but it might have been absorbed from that wine in the first one, in its original. So it's like a mixture of now of wine. Right. You're saying there's no chiddush if there's 4. It's just regular mixed wine. Okay.
Apply even more.
Yeah. But it was taught in the Mishnah, Hametamed, someone that puts wine on top of shmarim, he makes temed. That's the verb of making temed. It's metamed. He puts in a certain amount of water, and it comes out exactly the same amount. So it says Potter, he's exempt from taking Meiser. Sorry? Right on the top of 97, just today's daf. By the way, I'm away for Rosh Hashanah.
I know we're not learning on Rosh Hashanah.
Oh, you decided already? Okay. Dr. Stein says we're not learning on Rosh Hashanah. It's just saying Tillim. Okay, we'll have some catch up to do afterwards.
You could do it.
So, Potter, you're exempt from taking Meiser, it's not considered wine. Rabbi Yehuda Mechayev, Rabbi Yehuda says that no, it's Chayev. Even though it's exactly the same, it's Chayev and Meiser. Kumar says, the machlekes over here is only when it's the exact amount that came out. You put in 3, you got out 3. But if it's more than, if you get out more than 3, then everyone agrees that you have to take Meiser. Why are you telling me it's not wine? Why are you telling me here it's machlekes? There's no machlekes. Everyone agrees if it's more. The whole machlekes between Rabbi Yehuda and the Tanakama. No, that other machlekes was Chayrim. But over here we're seeing that everyone agrees if it's Yaisim Miktei Midasi. Gemara says, well, then they actually argue if it's more than, if you put in 3 and you get out more than 3. There's actually a machlekes there as well. So then why didn't you say so? Why did he make a machlekes just about Miktei Midasi, exactly the same amount? So why they tell me that the argument is about See, they wanted to tell me that Rabbi Yehuda is so strict about water in the shmarim that even when it's the same, he still says it's wine. But you have to look at it like this. When we said you put in 3 and you get out 3, Rabbi Yehuda says it's wine and the Chum say it's not wine. We understood from that originally that means that if it's more than, you get out more than 3, everyone agrees that it's wine. It says no. Actually, the machlekes is even if you get out more than 3, it's still a machlekes. The Chum say that it's water. Rabbi Yehuda says that it's wine. So why don't you tell me the bigger chiddush that even if you get out more, that would be a chiddush according to the Rabbanan, according to the Tanakam? Say no. We're trying to tell you the chiddush according to Rabbi Yehuda, that even when you get out exactly the same, he still says that it's wine. That's what we wanted to show you. Okay.
How do you get out more than you put in?
After you take these dregs out, this pumice out, the water level is higher. And it must be that it whatever dried things dissolved and came out into it.
So that means you would put it into.
Yeah. You start, but your water level was 3. You put this in to soak it, and then when you take it out, you're obviously squeezing it. You're squeezing out. You're pulling it out. You end up with more. Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak has a question from Hebram Shvarm Sheshbem Tam Yayin. Mahu. What bracha do you make on this? If it tastes like wine on the shmarim, is it saying just you're eating the shmarim itself? Or what does it say in English? You're eating the shmarim, or does it say you're mixing it with water?
I'm thinking about
One drinks water in which they've been steeped. The flavor is wine. What's the law? What blessing do you say on it? Rav Chia says, Misavis Chamro, the Amalei, Rav Chia says to Rav Nachman, Misavis Chamro, do you think it's wine? Kio Balmo, it's just a acidulous liquid. But I thought we were saying that it's wine if you get out more. We're talking about the getting out the same amount. And you're not getting out more.
They were saying that it's like flavored water, like if you get the same
Flavor, right? Flavor. Yeah.
Grape juice.
So basically, what he was really asking him is, who do we paskin like? Do we paskin like the Rabbanan, or do we paskin like the Cherem? Yeah. And the Rashbam points out that Bryce Alei Abishmile, he didn't know. The reason why he asked the question just as a halacha, when he could have asked it, who do you paskin like? It's because he didn't know about the Bryce. Then a Rabbanon, it was taught in a Bryce, Shmarim Shal Truma, Rishon V'Sheni Yasser. We're talking about that you put water into this pumice, please, he calls it over there, please, which is the pieces of the grapes, and it soaks in there. So the shmarim, those leaves were truma leaves. Now you put water in it. Does water get the status of truma when you take the leaves out? So rishon v'sheni aser. The first time that you put it in, not when you made the wine. First time you put water into it, and the second time you put water into it, it still is considered truma. Yeah, the way you can understand this when the Bachram go away to yeshiva and then they start doing their laundry. So the first time they put they say, why should I separate the darks from the whites? They just put it all in. They're in for a surprise. So so how many times can you, after how many washes will it still, you wash the socks with the shirts, and the shirts come out, they're all blue, black. And then if you wash those shirts with other shirts, well, it's spread to that, Okay, so here we're saying the Rishon V'Sheni, the first time that you use these leaves, it's considered truma. The second time it's considered truma, which means that a non-Kohen is not allowed to drink that water. Shlishi Mata, the third time, it's already so diluted, it's no problem. Meir says, also the third time, you have to taste it. That's the way it works with prohibitions. If it has a taste, it's considered prohibited, right? Same thing would be truma if it has a taste. Who's going to taste it? Easy, a kohen will taste it. If it tastes like wine, then it's a non-kohen can't drink it. B'shel meiser, let's say it's meiser. Now meiser sheni has special halachas. It can only be eaten in Yerushalayim and all of that. So if you have these leaves or pumice from meiser sheni, so the first time that you use it, it's aser. The water becomes meiser sheni water. Sheni, the second time, it's mutter. Then it's not considered meiser sheni anymore. Meir says, sheni b'neisin time. Meir says, no. Even the second time, we went down one level from truma. By truma was 3. The third time, right? By meiser, it's the second time. It's the machlekes. If you taste it, then it's considered meiser sheni. B'shel hektish shlishi aser ravi mutter. Let's say it was something that was consecrated. It was made. It was sanctified. So then, even the third time, it's going to be aser. That's the Tanakama didn't say by truma. Now they're saying it by hektish. Ravi mutter. It's only the fourth time that's going to be permissible. Rameir Emach Ravi b'neisin time. Rameir takes it always one step higher. Says the fourth one, it's going to be depending on tastes. Yeah, if you would have set it up in order of severity, it would be hektish, truma, and meiser. It would be 4, 3, and 2. That would be how it works.
Zimmer and Kodesh question. Did Rav Meir have an extended opinion?
No.
So we didn't have the opposite.
Yeah. So, Veraminu, the Gemara has a question. Shall hektish leila maser shall meiser leila mutter? What are you talking about? You're telling me that by hektish is machlekes if the fourth time is going to be aser. You have a brisa that says it's always aser, even the 5th, even the 10th. And then by meiser you said that it's machlekes about the second time. We have a brisa that says the second time is always mutter. Kasha hektish, kasha meiser. There's a contradiction on hektish. It's a contradiction for meiser. Gemara says hektish like kasha. There's no contradiction about hektish because kam kedusha zaguf, kam kedusha damim. Depends. Where you makdish this wine? Where you makdish this original wine, where the leaves are from? Did you makdish it to be poured on the mizbeach as kedusha zaguf, that this wine is going to be libation, for the nesachim, or was it just a gift to the Beis Hamikdash for the temple upkeep ownership? Then it has less of a holiness. So that's why by hektish kedusha zaguf, it's always aser. If it's just kedusha's damim, it's just the value was hektish. then the severity is not as strict. Meiser nami like kasha. There's no question about meiser either. It depends if it's real meiser or if it's meiser that you took because you bought it from an amaretz and you don't know, and it's a suffix. And this we're more lenient about that. Rabbi Yechon Reb Shimon ben Yitzadek. Rabbi Yechon says name Reb Shimon ben Yitzadek. It's usually Mishum Reb Shimon ben Yochai, but we don't really know if it's Mishum Reb Shimon ben Yochai. It's probably said Rashbi originally. Yeah, you follow? Reb Shimon ben Yitzadek is the same as Rashbi. Shin Beis Yud. Shimon ben Yitzadek or Reb Shimon ben Yochai.
The tax collector was his son.
That was Reb Shimon ben Yochai, not Reb Shimon ben Yitzadek. Over here it says Reb Shimon ben Yitzadek.
But it was his son.
Of Reb Shimon ben Yochai was a tax collector. The way that we say regarding prohibitions, and that's what we say regarding making something susceptible to impurity. Once grain gets wet, it's susceptible to impurity. If it's dry, it's not susceptible to impurity. So there's 7 liquids that could make it susceptible to impurity. What are those liquids? The acronym is Yad Shachatan. Yad is Yayin, Dvash, Shemen, Chalav, Tal, which is dew, and Dam, which is blood, and Mayim. In the air is water and wine. Both of those make something susceptible to tumah. And so the problem over here is Rabbi Yechanan says, just like we have a machlekes regarding if it's, we have a discussion regarding if this is water or wine, regarding prohibition, if it's truma or if it's meiser and all of that. The same thing, we have the same issues we're going to have when it comes to making grain susceptible to tumah. But the Gemara says, what are you talking about? Idemaya, if it's water, then achshiri machshir, then water makes something susceptible to tumah. Idechamra, if it's wine, achshiri machshir, then it makes it susceptible to tumah. So what's the difference? It's why should there be any difference? Both of them make it susceptible to tumah. Like no. It's the difference between water and wine. Because shetamda megashamim, we're talking about over here that water, you have to be happy about the grain getting wet. When it comes to other liquids, you don't have to be happy about it. Remember, we learned in Bava Metzia, it says kiyutan. It has to be, you have to put it on, you have to make it wet, b'machshava, you have to want it to get wet. That's only when it comes to water. But when it comes to other liquids, and even if you didn't want it to get wet from it, it's still considered wet. Well, what's going on over here is that the rain fell on top of these leaves, and it wasn't intentional. Now the question is it now susceptible to tumah by is it susceptible to tumah now because it wasn't intentionally put on it? So as a kivan to kashakal v'ramilu lamana, once you put it into a container, I guess to drink it, achshavinu, then you're happy about it, obviously. So what are you saying that there was no like human involvement here? Of course there is. When you take it after you when you put it into the vessel, then it's because you want it. So it's like trichash nitman meila. We're talking about that you didn't do anything. It just, I guess the Gemara's first was saying that you put the leaves into the vessel. Gemara first was understanding that it fell into a bucket and you put the leaves into it. Now it's saying that no, it fell straight into it. So at which point is it going to be wine? Which point is going to be water? It depends. The third time it's going to be water, right? The third time it's going to be water. If it's I don't know if we're talking about if it's truma. Yeah. If we're dealing with truma, then it's going to make a difference which time it's going to be machshir. If we're dealing with meiser, it's going to make a difference. So really, each halacha is going to have a different level of if it's machshir. But given the kanagid kama achshavina, but 1 second, when you take it out, you're making it that it's water that you wanted. You wanted it to get wet, so you're making it susceptible. That it could cause susceptibility to tumah, I guess, when it touches something else.
Isn't it when it gets wet?
Yeah, but would the leaves be susceptible to tumah beforehand? Are we talking about the leaves being susceptible to tumah? Are we talking about The water being susceptible to tama.
I think maybe the water. 23.
It's the water itself. Okay. Guess it's the water itself susceptible to tama. So, once you put it into a container, then it's you wanted it. It's like when you take it out, you want it. We're talking about where there was a cow that drank from the first 2 times. So it's only going to be the 3rd time. Oh, the one was saying like this: when you take it out, you're allowing more water to go inside. So when you're allowing more water to go inside, obviously it's because you want more water to go inside. When you drain it on the bottom, so that you make room for more water. So as you're taking it out, obviously you want more water to go in. But it says you didn't take it out. It was a cow that was drinking from it, and the cow took it out. So we don't know that. It's not like you was any thought into this. It's only the 3rd time that had it went on it. Now the question is it considered water? Is it considered wine regarding if it's susceptible to impurity? Amar Rav Zutra Bar Tivya Amar Rav. Rav Zutra Bar Tivya says the name of Rav. Einam Kiddush Hayom Elal Yain Urel Lenaskal Gam Mizbeach. When you say Kiddush Friday night, Kiddush Hayom doesn't mean Kiddush Shabbos. It means Kiddush Friday night. You need wine that's fit for the Mizbeach. That fits to be poured on the Mizbeach. Lamutimai, which wine is not allowed? The Kiddush Shabbos day is it's Kiddush, but it's not the real law of Kiddush. It's a secondary law. Okay. If you say that it's wine that's straight from the vat, which means that it wasn't diluted, but you're not supposed to use wine that's not diluted. It may be kosher, but if you use it, it's going to be kosher. We're talking about using it is to pour it on the mizbeach. You're supposed to pour the diluted wine on the mizbeach. It's ready to drink wine, not just concentrate. But since if that's the case, that if it's kosher on the altar, even though that wasn't lechatchila, but for when it comes to kiddush, then it should be good even lechatchila, right? Initially, it should be good. Rav actually says they're allowed to take a thing of grapes and squeeze it into a cup and make kiddush on it. Now you're not allowed to do that on Shabbos, of course. It means Erev Shabbos. You squeeze it Erev Shabbos, use it Friday night. We're talking about there's different parts of the barrel. The top of the barrel has like some froth and stuff that floats to the top. That's not fit for the altar. The bottom of the barrel has these sediments in it, these dregs. That's not fit for the altar, and that's also not fit for kiddush.
But is he saying that you make kiddush?
Yeah, from that Mishnah, or Seicher Ashkom Shalanav and Kiddush Hayom is grape juice.
Good, I need
Yeah.
to memorize.
Prohibition there is liquid to liquid.
Sorry?
The grape squeezing is liquid to liquid. The prohibition.
You cannot let us squeeze fruits. And
Lemon on salad.
that's because you're not making it into a juice. Just going into a salad.
Also,
Here we're talking about you making into a
liquid to
So the fermenting process produces foam on the top of the barrel?
I think so.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. There's something wrong. It says it calls it a flower. There's like a flower on the top. Something's going on up there. There's something hanging out. I don't know what it is.
Mhm.
Maybe some dust type things that float to the top. Rather, I'm sorry. That if you bring wine from the top or from the bottom, you're not supposed to, but if you do it, it's kosher, which means it's good for kiddush as well. Rather, it's coming to tell me that you can't use black wine, white wine. Hilistrin is the sweet wine. Shalmartef is wine from which is starting to sour. Remember we had that yesterday. Shaltzamukim or raisin wine. The Gemara says, "Vatani b'kol la'yavim may be kosher," but all of those, if you bring them on the altar, you're not supposed to. But if you do, it's kosher. Rather something else. Souring wine I thought kaisis and martif is the same. Mazug is if it's mixed.
Have souring mixed and left uncovered.
And Megula uncovered, but we said we're supposed to bring mixed. Rishel Shmarim, and if it's wine that's made from temed, from the lees, and Visharei Chara, and if it smells bad. Tani Bekulam La Yavi, all of these, it says in the Brisa, you're not supposed to use them. Bimhevi, Pasal. And if you use them, it's Pasal. The Gemara says, Lamuti Mai, so you gave me a list of them. Which one is the one that you're talking about when Rabbi Yochanan, who was it over here? That you can't say Kiddush Hayayim on wine that's not fit to go on the Mizbeach. We said which one? What are you trying to exclude? So now we're saying, well, which one of these four? The souring, the diluted, the open, there's actually five here, or the lees, or the one that smells bad. Which one is the one that you're excluding? If you're coming to exclude the one that's souring, look to the Rabbi Yechon Rosh ben Levi, that's actually a machlekes. We had yesterday. If it smells like vinegar but tastes like wine, if it's mixed, then that's an improvement. You have to put water in it. If it's left open, you're not allowed to drink it anyway. If it's talking about the one that had the leaves on it, what's the case? Either but if you put in 3 cups and you got out 4 cups, that's regular wine, that's good wine. Either palga, if you put in 3 cups and you got out 3.5, then that was the machlekes we said today. Machlekes if it's considered wine. Okay, time to exclude, it smells bad. Megula. We're coming to say it's open. It was left open overnight, right? And we're coming to say, even though you told me it's a sakana, it's dangerous to drink it. It could be a snake drink from it and put the poison in. No, you strained it. Grab Nechemia, and it says that it's acceptable. The only thing is, would you give this as a present? That once it's left open and then you strained it, would you give that to the governor? So you shouldn't bring it. What about white wine? It has to be red. Tana was taught it says if you buy these barrels out of 100, you're allowed you can get 10 of them that are like of lesser quality. Now it says in the Brisa that even though they were fortified with some other like plaster, but nevertheless you can't get any more than 10 of these even, and they're pretty, but nevertheless only 10. Okay, we're running to Slichas over here. We're up to date.
2 minutes.